Food insecurity continues to be an issue in our community. I'm joined by Ava Lee Kyle, co-chair of Lunch by George, along with Tina Bailey from the Community Foundation of Kingston Frontenac. So Tina, you made a really nice grant to Lunch by George. Tell us all about that.
Yeah, really excited about this one. It's one of those that the simple things can have the biggest impact. So we received a grant application from Lunch by George just before COVID hit to help them replace two of their ovens. The ones they've been using are old, and they were facing costly repairs and, more importantly, downtime. So they wanted to have that reliability of stoves to continue to provide their lunch program. So that was granted or deemed to be a valuable project to invest in. And then COVID hit. And, we were really impressed by how Lunch by George really stepped up to deliver meals in a different, safe takeout format. So we proceeded with putting that grant forward so that they have the funds to now purchase those stoves, so they have the reliability. So it's great that Avalee is here today to tell us all about their programs and what they do.
Yes, I'd like to know more about that. So Ava Lee, tell me about Lunch by George.
Lunch by George is a program we run in St. George's Cathedral in the hall of the St. George's Hall. We're a United Way partner. We serve about, normally about 50 to 60 a day. We, pre-COVID, served coffee and snacks at 9 o'clock, and we served soup at 10, and we served a full meal at 11 o'clock. We are staffed by one coordinator, Jenny Hurd, and we have numerous volunteers. A lot of that has changed with COVID, so we're doing things differently now. Would you like to hear what we're doing now?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, so we have changed to takeout manner. The takeout hours are 11 to 11:30. We have employed an extra person because we lost all our volunteers, mostly through the fact that a lot of them are elderly, retired, and we didn't want them putting themselves at risk near the clients. So wasn't to do with anything else really but that. So we hired another person to work alongside Jenny. We have one other volunteer, and we have a young man that is at the door handing out to us.
So is Lunch by George, is it for anybody who wants lunch, or is there a means test, or how do you do that?
We ask no questions. They're welcome. There is a code of conduct that we have, and that has to be abided by, but aside from that, no, we ask no questions. It's a United Way partner, so it is open to all people.
Great. Tell me just an example of what lunch would consist of.
Well, would you like pre or COVID?
Oh, let's talk about right now.
I just will talk about right now, otherwise I'm going to be talking about two different programs, and that's going to get a little confusing. So right now what we are doing for the most part is we are alternating box lunch one day and a hot lunch the next. I was just actually down there, and today was quiche. We serve salad every day. We serve fresh fruit and cookies, and we have either a juice box if we have enough, or we have water every day. Sadly, we have a lot of clothing that we used to hand out, and we're unable to do that right now because we have no entrance into the church hall.
Well, that sounds like a nice lunch.
It is a good lunch.
So where do your materials come from? Is that donated, or do you purchase them?
We do a little bit of everything. We have some donated. If you're familiar with Sophie Koala, Sophie has organized a vulnerable sector committee, and we meet either once or twice a week, and it consists of basically of all the food providers for people in need in Kingston and in South and North Frontenac. So we share around. Lionhearts, if you've heard of them, are certainly part of it, and they're serving up to 700 a day. They had extra takeout containers today, and I let people know we needed them yesterday during our meeting. It's really helped that we've all come together as a group, and we're sharing around each other. The United Way has a COVID fund, an emergency fund, and they've been extremely generous with us. So we've been doing okay, considering we had to bring on another salary and considering we're using 2 stoves that barely work.
Right. So these stoves, are they in? Are they working? How's that going for you?
Well, we haven't bought them yet.
Oh,
The grant is that new.
that new.
But now they know they have the funding to be able to purchase them and install them when the time is right, when it's safe to do so.
You know, you never know who's out there listening. What kind of stoves are you looking for?
Well, that is another very long story, but after a lot of shopping, we felt, because of I am not an electrician expert, so please, I may get this wrong, but something to do with the connections of a commercial stove wasn't going to work because of the historical building and it wasn't going to work. We've just recently found out that we can do a commercial stove. So as opposed to buying 2 residential stoves, they have to be gas. We are most likely going to go with 1 huge commercial stove, and hopefully we're going to get buying that very, very soon. But we have to also keep in mind that it has to be done safely for everybody with the COVID parameters.
Well, that, and it is an old building, and it's complicated. Can be complicated. So if somebody out there, maybe they've got a connection to a commercial stove, and you'd be the one to get a hold of.
One to get a hold of. We've certainly been talking with, we're trying to do local. We've been trying with local partners. Furthest we've gone looking is Ottawa. We've done a fair amount of shopping, but now that we know what we can put in there, and we also thought we were waiting for our elevator to be fixed, which is broken. I shall call it a lift, not an elevator. Now we know that it's not going to fit in there no matter what we try, so it's going to be lifted up so we don't have to wait for the lift to be finished.
Wow, it's getting complicated, isn't it? And
yes.
Yeah. Now you get the stove in, you're producing these meals. You could probably use a donation or 2. Cash is always welcome, I assume. It is for most people.
Cash is always welcome. And we do try and hand out for them other things besides food. Some clothing, some toiletries, that kind of thing, just everyday things that you would require. But that part has stopped for us right now. I'm not sure when we're going to be able to have them back indoor. Thankfully, it's almost summer. So those that are out, because they have to eat out, there's nowhere for them to sit anymore. It's getting better anyway.
It will get warmer eventually, won't it? Where can they send a donation? Where can people send a donation to you?
They can send a donation. Lunch by George shares the same bookkeeper as St. George's Cathedral, so they can send a donation designated for Lunch by George to St. George's Cathedral, to our bookkeeper. All
right. So I hope this helps, and continued good work that you're doing here. So thanks, Tina. Good seeing you again, and stay safe, everybody.